Right, well, good afternoon. Hopefully you had a good lunch, you had some time to network and to see our exhibitors in the knowledge marketplace, and really pleased to see you all back for what for me is one of the highlights of this annual event. The chance to recognize the fantastic work of our standards makers and also those who are using our standards. And so I'm going to ask a couple of our colleagues to come and join us, Neil Musk and Dan Biles. Welcome, both of you. This is a three-person job. So Neil, we've met already, the president of BSI Knowledge Solutions. Dan, first time on the stage today, the chair of BSI Standards Policy and Strategy Committee. So Dan, what is going on at the Standards Policy and Strategy Committee, and what is it?
Thank you very much. Hope I'm using this right. I think most people in the room have probably heard of SPSE and are familiar with the fact that it's there, but don't necessarily know what we do. SPSE is probably the most interesting committee to be on in BSI, because as well as looking at things like strategy and policy and looking forwards to help guide the board and the organisation on the future direction of BSI, it's also responsible for every single standards committee. It's our job to make sure that the individual chairs and the committees have the support they need, the skills they need, and the frameworks and structures they need to do their jobs properly. And at the same time, this forward-looking role is to say, well, what are we going to need? How are things going to change? How is the standards-making process potentially going to look different in 5 years, in 10 years? And how can we put the structures and the support in place now to make sure that we're supporting the committees and all those committee members and volunteers that BSI couldn't work without? So it's a really fascinating role, and it's a privilege to chair it.
Excellent. Thank you, Dan. Right. Stay where you are, you two. You've got a job to do, which is to hand out some awards. So just to explain the process, we're going to recognise, first of all, the IEC 1906 awards, as we do every year. And then we're going to talk about our standards awards, which, as I say, are a mix of standards users and standards makers. Now, the IEC 1906 awards, these winners already know that they've won, so no surprise, unlike the other awards today. Many people have already, because we get quite a huge crowd from the UK who receive 1906 awards, because we have so many excellent experts and standards makers in the IEC, the International Electrotechnical Commission. But some of our standards makers are here today, and we want to take this opportunity to recognise them. So I'm going to invite them to come up en masse as I read out their citations, and we're going to take a group photograph, and then we'll move on to the standards users and standards makers. So there's going to be a little bit of choreography to do. If you've seen this before, you know that something usually goes wrong, so hold on to your seats. We will be presenting them, and then there'll be a bit of a photograph. So if you want to just hold your applause, so that was the other direction, please applaud. But you might want to hold your applause until we read out the name of the winner, and then you can give them a fulsome round of applause. So I think, are we ready? Everybody ready for this? I think we'll begin by our 1906 award winners. So the 1906 award winners commemorate the IEC's year of foundation here in London back in 1906. They honour IEC experts around the world whose work is fundamental to the organisation. It recognises exceptional and recent achievements, a project or other specific contribution related to the activities of IEC, and which contributes in a significant way in advancing their work. So without any further ado, let me read out the names of the 8 winners, and I'll invite each of them to come up when they hear their name. So firstly, Maurice John Wilkins, in recognition of their excellent leadership and long-standing contribution to standards, driving the transition to the smart and digital ecosystem, particularly human-machine interfaces, batch processing, and terminology. Secondly, Samantha Johnson, in recognition for their leadership on standards for aviation lighting and marking of onshore and offshore wind turbines, and their aptitude in resolving differing national expectations. Congratulations, Samantha. John O'Hagan, in recognition of their active participation in multiple IEC TC76 working groups over many years, and their leadership in developing the safety of laser products standard, and their work on Working Group 9, the non-laser optical radiation safety. Fourth, Peter McNichol, in recognition for their effective leadership as convener of the IEC Technical Committee on Safety of Machinery and enabling the development of the standard on protective equipment to detect the presence of persons. Fifth, Duncan Pudney, in recognition of their contribution to and the astute review of the IEC standards on automatic electrical controls, which led to a more user-friendly standard. Thank you, Duncan. Number 6 is John Napper, in recognition of their outstanding contributions in the revision of standards for ceramic, glass, and composite insulators. Next is Samad Khan, in recognition of their recent exceptional contribution to the development of the standard on lightning protection, specifically Part 4 on electrical and electronic systems within structures. And last and most certainly not least, Colin Cameron, in recognition of their highly successful contribution to and leadership of the development of the BSI and IEC standard on explosive atmospheres, Part 11 on equipment protection. Thank you very much. So guys. Congratulations to all of the UK IEC 1906 award winners, including the 8 that we've just seen and all the others who contribute so much to the organisation. Did I forget to mention the funky music as well? Sorry, that might have come as a bit of a surprise. We're going to move on now to the honours with the BSI Standards Awards. So these BSI awards recognise, as I say, both standards makers and standards users for the impact of their efforts at making or using standards. Now, the awards this year are divided into categories, so you can see them on the screen now, based on the nature of the impact of their work. The awards are the most prestigious awards for our standards makers and a great opportunity to recognise excellence in standards using and standards making. Just being nominated is indeed recognition in and of itself, and so maybe before we proceed, we should also announce all of our nominees and give them a round of applause too. Right, let's begin then with our first winner. And we start with the award for productivity. The winner is a standards maker, being recognised for their exceptional contribution as chair of the Laboratory Equipment Committee, which has made research laboratories more productive and their results more replicable by standardising pipette calibration. Their leadership of the committee enabled a transformation of the standards in this area, which have immeasurably benefited research around the world. Congratulations to our first winner, Charles Pascal. So you've all got the hang of this now. We've got the choreography sorted out. Our next awards are for impact on governance, and we have 2 Standards Makers Awards in this category. The first is being presented to standards makers for their hard work and commitment to the creation of BS 25800, Safeguarding for Organisations, a landmark standard supporting organisations to safeguard persons under the age of 18 and vulnerable adults. The diligence and commitment of the committee members, the chair, and the content development team lead was exemplary. So congratulations to G16, the Safeguarding Committee, and the chair of the committee, Sarah Hamadan, who is receiving a special commendation for the critical role they played. Fortunately, she can't be here, but we do have members of the committee, so we'd like to invite David Smith, Antti Minanik, and Davina Barber, and anyone else from the committee to collect the award. our next award in the governance section is being presented to a standards maker for their instrumental role in the establishment of the UK and China Joint Committee on Governance, which will have a profound impact on enabling greater transparency, consistency and quality in organisational governance. Their diplomacy and patience have been invaluable in enabling effective cooperation of members on very challenging topics. Congratulations, Richard Preece. We continue with our Standards Awards for Impact on Safety, and as you might expect, we have more awards in this category, 4 to be precise. There's 2 Standards Makers Awards and 2 Users Awards, and our first winner is a user, being recognised for their implementation of standards that are greatly reducing the likelihood of impingement in hip replacement procedures. Their implementation of these standards during computational modelling and investigational testing has helped them reduce the likelihood of implant failure and patient harm. Congratulations to Dupuis Synthes, Johnson & Johnson MedTech, and here to collect the award, James Anderson and Mazen Al-Hajja. Congratulations. Our next safety award is presented to a standards maker for their leadership on the European Working Group on Safety of Toys and their invaluable contribution to BSEN 71, Safety of Toys Part 1, Mechanical and Physical Properties. Their ability to enable collaboration between stakeholders with opposing views on a very emotive topic was critical in creation of this widely accepted state-of-the-art standard. Congratulations, Anthony Kiran. And our third safety award is presented to a standards user for their successful use of standards to ensure that the equipment they provide to the Royal Navy meets UK and EU legislation for the safety of electronic equipment. The use of the standards also enabled acquisition of certificates of safety for electronic equipment vital to wider safety requirements on Royal Navy vessels. Congratulations to Trident Maritime Systems UK Limited and Paul Vinherden. It may have been my pronunciation of his surname, but if he's not here, he may be on manoeuvres, of course, which was one of those things. But we'll make sure that he gets the award, so congratulations to Trident Maritime Systems. Right, our final safety award is given to a standards maker for their outstanding contribution to the Underwater Breathing Apparatus Committee, PH47, and consequently their role in improving the performance and safety of diving equipment, from snorkels and demand valves to electronically controlled rebreathers in all depths. Their practical experience and extensive knowledge enable them to articulate best practice and pragmatic performance goals for a very diverse range of products. Congratulations to Gavin Anthony. Unfortunately, he can't be with us today. He's away on holiday, diving probably. So here to accept the award on their behalf is BSI Senior Standards Manager Simon Hamlet. I think you can still take a photograph. You can still get a photograph, yes, come on. Thank you, Simon. We'll Photoshop that later. Our next Standards Awards recognise environmental impact, and we have a standards maker and a standards user being recognised today. First to a standards maker, who has been recognised for their outstanding work as chair of the Sustainable Events Committee and their considerable influence on ISO 2012-1, Sustainable Events Management Standard that we heard about earlier. This standard provides a global framework for the economic, environmental and social impacts of events and provides a common international language to communicate about event sustainability. Congratulations to Fiona Pelham. Now, Fiona lives in Denmark, and true to her environmental credentials, we didn't ask her to fly over just to get an award. So here to collect it is the committee's manager, Lois Appleyard. Lois. So our second award is for the same standard, but this goes to a standards user. This user has been recognised for supporting many organisations in the implementation of ISO 2012-1 sustainable events. That includes an Olympic Games, the UEFA European Championships, G7, COP26, music festivals, and many more besides. Their use of the standard has reduced the environmental impact and increased the social value of numerous events and helped the organisations they work with see the value and impact of implementing standards to improve sustainability. Congratulations to Crowbury Consulting Limited, represented today by Becky Toll and Mary Toll. Becky's organisation is the go-to organisation if you need help with ISO 2012-1, which is what we need to get through the IEC General Meeting, and she's helping us with that, so thank you. Right, our next category of Standards Award recognises impact on trust, and it is unsurprisingly one of our biggest categories. We have 5 winners, of which 3 are standards makers and 2 are standards users. So first we recognise a standards maker for their outstanding work in developing standards for competence requirements for the management of safety in residential buildings. Their tenacity, dedication and commitment have been critical to the progress made to date in providing this critical guidance to organisations and professional bodies to help them to keep residents safe. Congratulations to Mark Snelling. Should pause and give people's hands a break from all that clapping. Dan, your first awards, not your first awards, but your first time on the stage. What do you think so far? What do you think of these awards?
What I think is fascinating about listening to the awards is it shows the breadth of work that BSI does and the broad range of human activity that BSI impacts. I mean, what have we had? We've had pipettes in laboratories, we've had underwater breathing apparatus, toys, organising conference events, and something secret to do with Trident.
Yes.
It just goes to show that BSI is such a unique organisation, and the work done by the committees and the committee volunteers genuinely touches lives across the breadth of human activities. And I just find that fascinating.
It's amazing. And that last piece about residents, this is something SPSC was talking about at the last meeting.
Absolutely, yes.
The importance of...
Absolutely. the built environment, and in particular people's homes and residences, the safety of residences, let's face it, that's been a very, very topical issue not too many years ago. And I think we can all be very proud of the work BSI does to make sure that our homes and our residences are safe.
Dan, thanks very much. I know you've got to rush off. You've got a prior engagement, but Neil, we've still got more to do. Thank you, Dan. We'll see you next week. In fact, Neil, some amazing stories from the user side and the maker's side coming out so far.
So, I mean, two things. It really brings it home to you when you're sat in a dry office looking at a process or talking about, the latest bit of, which number can we add to this standard. Sometimes you don't get the full understanding and insight into the amazing things we do. And this, for me, is the highlight of my year, because you get to really understand, A, the breadth, as Dan was saying, but B, just real examples. Like when I go home and talk to my kids and they go, what on earth do you do that? I can actually explain. I remember when we had I think Formula 1E won a user award a couple of years ago, and just talking to the team about the difference the standard would make, the process involved in it, and then talking to friends and family about that myself, I realised the pride that all of us have in all of the breadth of standards that we work in.
Yeah, absolutely. Well said. Right, let's move on again to our next award, which is in the trust category. Our next award goes to a standards maker who's been recognised for their tireless work in ensuring that the voice of the consumer was heard throughout the development of the Privacy by Design standard, BSI ISO 31700. Their diligence and persistence enabled the development of a robust, consumer-focused standard which supports organisations in protecting this universal human right. Congratulations to Pete Eisenegger, who unfortunately can't be with us today, so accepting on their behalf is BSI's Consumer Policy Manager, Helen Gray. Our third Trust Award is presented to a standards user for their effective use of collaborative business relationship standard BSI ISO 44001 to foster open communication, transparency and mutual respect among their employees, partners and stakeholders. Use of the standards has helped the organisation build trust in relationships in projects from some of the UK's most significant sustainable transport infrastructure projects to small but vital local initiatives. Congratulations to Natalie Krieger and Louise McMahon, here to accept the award on behalf of Kia Transportation. Congratulations to Kia Transportation. Right, our penultimate award in the trust category is given to a standards maker for their outstanding contribution to standardization in the fields of artificial intelligence, cloud computing, and distributed platforms, and their instrumental role in establishing a joint ISO and IEC committee on quantum. Their thought leadership, unwavering commitment to standards and diplomacy have been critical to the UK's success in these fields. Congratulations to Tony Holland. Thank you, Tony, for your years of dedication to the process. And the final Trust Award is made to a standards user for their expert knowledge of multiple standards relating to electrical equipment testing, enabling them to provide a knowledgeable and compliant testing service to clients and to deliver PAT training to a high standard. This small business's use of these safety standards provides confidence and peace of mind to their clients, as you heard from him this morning. Congratulations to Lee and Sarah Turtle and PAT IT Limited. He'll be forever remembered as the man who brought us exploding cows. I do hope you're all here this morning. That really doesn't make any sense. Our next Standards Award recognises social impact, and we have 3 awards to give today. 2 to standards makers and 1 to a standards user. We start things off by recognising a group of standards makers for outstanding work on the development and publication of BS 30416, Menstruation, Menstrual Health and Menopause in the Workplace. A standard, as we heard already this morning, tackling a critical area for workplace equity and inclusion affecting half of the world's workforce, although as Abby said, it affects everybody. This panel delivered a standard packed full of practical, credible guidance in record time, and it's been downloaded thousands of times in more than 80 countries. Congratulations to the entire committee, CH3141, Deborah Garlick, Lauren Chiran, Sally Kitchen, Maria Tomlinson, Darren Dupre, Jean Hewitt, and all the other members. And also joining them on stage is my colleague Nell Scarf, whose support was integral to the success of the committee. Congratulations, all of you. Congratulations. There's money in the logo. Congratulations. What's up now? Right, Neil, squeeze in. Thank you very much. Well done, everybody, and thanks to everybody involved in that real groundbreaking committee, CH314, Menstruation and Menopause in the Workplace. What amazing work that you've done in record time, and it is leading the world on this topic, so thank you so much. Our next social award is presented to a standards user for their implementation of Consumer Vulnerability Standard BSI ISO 22458 on the domestic energy sector to ensure that vulnerable customers receive an inclusive, fair and empathetic service, especially when power is lost. Implementation of the standard has been essential in enabling this organisation to set expectation, like information always being only 3 clicks away for vulnerable customers, develop important frameworks such as their welfare framework, and determine appropriate compensation for vulnerable customers who experience an outage. Congratulations, you met her this morning, to Emma Merritt, accepting the award on behalf of Scottish and Southern Electricity Networks. She might have thought her work was done after the panel this morning and gone home, but we'll make sure that Emma and SSEN gets their award at another time. Thank you to them. Our final social award goes to a standards maker for their extraordinary commitment to the development of a new standard on human rights. leading to the formation of a brand new standards committee on human rights due diligence. Their leadership, energy, and ability to engage stakeholders in this complex and challenging values-based topic has been critical to the success of the work so far. Congratulations to Ian Beers. We might have, are the doors unlocked? Are we locked people out? All right. Well, congratulations, Ian. Amazing work, groundbreaking work that committee is doing. And again, we'll make sure that Ian gets the award. Our next is presented to a standards maker to recognize, we moved on to innovation, right? Our next is presented to a standards maker to recognize their impact on innovation through their tireless work on the development and innovation of 3D body scanning for clothing and sizing applications, and their considerable contribution to the development and publishing of 16 standards for digital bodies and digital fitting of clothing for new and emerging online clothing applications. Congratulations, and my fingers are crossed that they're in the room, to Jennifer Bugord. Congratulations, Jennifer. And our next award recognises a young professional. We spoke earlier about the importance of getting younger professionals involved in the standardisation work. Well, this is one on their journey. They've had a remarkable impact on the development of standards for technical product realisation, for design, for manufacture, assembly, disassembly, and end-of-life processing, made, and remanufacturing. They've not only been critical to the development of standards in this area, but they've also been a tireless advocate for standards in the industry. Congratulations to Tom Ruddle. Congratulations, Tom. And there remains only one award to give. And I'm going to ask Susan Taylor-Martin, BSI's Chief Executive, to come and join us on the stage. This is the Wolf Barry Medal. This is the highest accolade given to standards makers in the UK, which is tantamount to a Lifetime Achievement Award. We are delighted to be able to recognise this standards maker for their extraordinary leadership of and contribution to standards for occupational health and safety, their outstanding capacities in engaging new standards makers and users, and their positive contributions in helping improve the process and experience of standards making, and all of the above both nationally and internationally. For more than 25 years, this individual has been instrumental to the development of some of the world's most well-known and well-used standards, and has consistently worked to engage new and ever more diverse audiences, both in the development and in the use of standards. They've been a leader, an innovator, an advocate, a constructive critic, and so much more, and their work has benefited thousands of organisations and tens of thousands of people around the world. Congratulations to the 2024 Wolf Barry Medal Award winner, Martin Cottam. Martin did know he was going to win this. As is customary, Martin, we'd invite you to say a few words as we leave the stage.
Well, thank you, ladies and gentlemen. I'm both surprised and delighted to receive this award. And having known some of the previous winners and also seeing this year's many nominees, I feel really very honoured to become a winner of the Wolf-Barry Medal. And I'm sure that anyone receiving this award would recognise, as I do, that it's actually the good fortune of working with capable and dedicated colleagues, which frankly is the key to success. And I've certainly been very lucky to work with a particularly great team in ISO Technical Committee 283 for occupational health and safety management, and indeed in the other national and international committees on which I've served. And I've been particularly well supported too over the years by very capable BSI colleagues, particularly the TC 283 committee managers, Sally Swingewood, who's now at ISO, and Joaquin Humphreys, our current committee manager. And I'm also grateful to Scott Steedman, for his personal support and encouragement over the years. Now, when I first joined a standards committee in 1997, I didn't expect it to be for very long. At the time, I was working at Lloyd's Register and had just been seconded for 6 months to LRQA, the certification body, to set up a certification scheme for occupational health and safety management. And it was suggested to me it would be useful to perhaps join the British Standards Committee, HS1. So I did that, expecting it only to be relevant for the duration of that 6-month secondment. Well, in the best Lloyd's Register tradition, the 6-month secondment lasted 3 years. My involvement in standards has lasted 27 years, and I don't think it's over yet. And much of that involvement through that time, the actual standards development with which I've been involved has been not directly and obviously relevant to the day job that I occupied at the time. And so you might wonder, why did I continue to be involved for so long? And equally, why did Lloyd's Register continue to support that involvement? And I think there were 2 reasons. Firstly, the work was giving me a far deeper understanding of management systems, the role of standards, the challenges of effective implementation, which actually turned out to be relevant as my work evolved through all sorts of different areas: engineering, risk management, asset management, technical governance, quality management. Secondly, and perhaps more importantly, because participation in committee activities and leadership were providing me they provided me with the perfect environment in which to observe and learn and practice those soft skills which are so key to being an effective committee member, as I'm sure you'll all agree, or a committee leader, but actually equally important in any working environment and in any day job. For me, the on-the-job training that standards work provided significantly influenced my career trajectory. I spent the last 6 years of my time at Lloyd's Register as the group's Technical Assurance and Quality Director, a role I don't believe would have been within my grasp or capability, but for the regular training that standards had provided. And I say that because the skills and behaviours for which I was particularly credited in that role are exactly the things that I've been practicing day in, day out in my work in standards development. So I think as we work to recruit the next generation of standards makers, particularly those young professionals whom we so very much need around the standards table, I think we shouldn't hesitate to sell the benefits of being involved in standards in terms of the technical, professional and personal development opportunities that it can provide, which in my experience have definitely been career-changing. For while I'm thrilled to receive this medal as an acknowledgement of my contribution over the years, I'm also convinced that there's a real prize available for everyone involved in standards development in terms of what we ourselves get out of the experience. Thank you.
congratulations on behalf of everybody in. Am I on? Congratulations on behalf of everybody in BSI for this medal, which is a fair a reflection of the amazing career and work that you've had so far with us. But what would you tell your younger self 27 years ago if you knew then what you know now about the process? Would you tell them to run now while they can, or?
No, I think, well, possibly at the time, if I'd known what was ahead, I might have hesitated, David, to be very honest. But I think, for me, one of the things that stands out over the years has been just how challenging some of the occasions have been which have arisen in my work, and how unexpected as well, being asked to do things that I didn't necessarily think I could do and do them at short notice. But actually, the benefit of being pushed in that way and then discovering that you can muddle through and learn from it and do better next time, I think has certainly helped me, perhaps, as somebody who might more naturally hang back from those opportunities rather than grab them, to build up the confidence to realise that actually you should always take those opportunities, quite frankly, shouldn't you? There's always something to learn.
Yeah. And in all the years I've known you, you've always been a constructive voice and to change the way we work. What do you still hope we can change? You see a lot of our processes from the inside and lots of the way committees work internationally as well as nationally. There must be still some burning frustrations for things to improve.
Yeah, I'm always ambitious for change and impatient to see that change. Where to start? I'm sure you don't want a lengthy answer to this. Diversity in committees really concerns me, and making sure that we induct people into committee work in the right way and support their development. I've been very lucky in working with people who helped me to grow into this work, but I'm not sure we're consistent in the way that we do that across the board. So I think that's a big thing for me.
And you set up for our young professionals, of whom there's a few in the room, but there'll be more at the November conference. You talked about some of those soft skills that you take on. Would you go out and advocate to younger professionals to get involved in the depth that you have in terms of chairing meetings and being a UK leader?
Absolutely. I mean, I think it's such a great opportunity to develop those skills. And as I said in my remarks a few minutes ago, they're so transferable back to the workplace. I made so much better a job of chairing meetings and dealing with colleagues who didn't quite agree with each other and being able to move discussions forward because I'd had that experience in standards. So I really think, there's such an opportunity for young people getting involved in standards to potentially get the experience of doing things regularly, which they might only get to do more occasionally in the normal day job. And so that's an accelerator and a great opportunity.
The 2024 Wolf Barry Medal Award winner, Martin Cottam. Thanks so much, Martin. Appreciate that. That brings us to the end of the awards, but not the end of the conference. We've still got a session to come on ethical supply chains, which we know impacts everybody, and it's something that we're all interested in. And then we'll hear from the Minister, Mims Davis, straight after that. So you've got about 5 minutes. Tea and coffee served upstairs if you'd like to make yourself available to you. And also go and talk to our exhibitors up there as well. And we'll see you back in the room at about 3:15. Thank you.